5 ways to get through a hard time. You're going to learn things like how to seek perspective. You're going to learn how to leverage hard and difficult times for your growth. You're going to learn things like how to embrace the purification, so you literally take what's causing you pain and allow it to bring you into your true power. So I know you're going to find this mastery session rich, not only with philosophy and insights, but some great tools that will allow you to do amazing things in your life. So thank you for making the time with me, and let's get right into the first one. Seek perspective. The first way for you to get through a hard time is seek perspective. Here's a question I want to ask you. When you're going through a hard time, do you ask yourself, how could this be worse? If no one has died, well then, it's only upside. So seek perspective is really the first insight I want you to offer. Perspective. Has anyone died here? How could this be worse? What are my blessings? What's good here? What am I grateful for? Perspective is a really important thing to be playing with as you're navigating a challenging time. I remember I was in a country on a speaking tour, and it was quite a poor country. And it was, I was walking to the restaurant to have a dinner. And as I walked there, I had to walk through this place where there was like these shacks. And I still remember, it was a star-filled sky, and I saw this young girl. I'm guessing she was about 12 years old. And she was sitting alone, and she was eating a piece of bread, and she had the largest smile on her face, and her eyes were sparkling. So amidst all of that difficulty, she found perspective, and she linked to her blessings. Makes me think of the lotus. The lotus is a flower that grows in swamps, and yet it's one of the most beautiful flowers in the world. So this first way to navigate hard times is to really gather perspective, to really ask yourself, to go up to your mountaintop and then look across and really get a sense of the truth of what's going on. Your gratitude, what you're grateful for, how could this be worse? Perspective also involves remembering the shortness of life. We live on a tiny planet in a large galaxy with trillions of other planets. Are our problems really that big? That's perspective. Okay, that brings me to point number 2, to handle and transcend and get through hard times, which is really this: leverage for growth. What does leverage for growth means? Well, it simply means that hard times are nothing more than growth coming to get you in wolf's clothing. I'm going to repeat that again with great love and respect because it's important. Hard times, we all go through hard times. It's really nothing more than growth in wolf's clothing. And the real game of the legend and history maker and titan and hero is growth. It's about taking your gifts and your talents and materializing them each day. And how do you do that? You do that by using every single thing that happens to you, good or bad, as grist for the mill. In other words, using everything that happens to you, painful and poetic, to make you stronger and to introduce you to the primal hero that lives at the core of every human heart. I've gone through some very difficult times in my life. Sometimes where I was down on my knees. Sometimes when I was so confused. Sometimes when I was in the valley of darkness. And one of the things that helped me most, and that will help you as you navigate your turmoil and painful seasons of life, is you say, how can I use this to grow? How can I use this to shatter the covering over my ego so I become more creative, more productive, more loving, more of service, more on fire, more of a history maker to humanity in my own unique way? If you look at the greatest people of the planet, the true leaders, the true history makers, the true servants of humanity, if you look at the greatest business builders, if you look at the greatest artists, they all had one thing in common. They suffered more than the ordinary person. How good are you being alone. If you look at the great geniuses, you look at the great women and men of the world, you look at the most creative people, you look at people who are building great businesses, they all have one thing in common. They spend a lot of time thinking. And you will never get your best insights in a noisy restaurant or being surrounded by your best friends. We live in a world that in many ways says, well, if you want to be liked and if you want to fit in, make sure you have a lot of people around you and your life is layered with lots of complexity and shiny toys and bells and whistles. Blaise Pascal, the French mathematician, said something I've never forgotten. He said, most of man's miseries derive by his inability to sit quietly in a room by himself. Tranquility is the new luxury. I'm going to repeat that again because it's so important. Tranquility is the new luxury. Most people in the world right now are so addicted to distraction. There's so much going on. They're exhausted. And so one of the single best moves you can do to get your best thinking done, to get your best insights, to be more intentional as you go through your days, to amplify your productivity, creativity, and prosperity is this: make more time to be alone. And to go even deeper, make the time and develop the ability to like yourself more. You know, you are the only person who will be with you your entire lifetime. We're going to lose loved ones. People come and go. You are the only person that will be with you as long as you are alive. And so why not build intimacy and fluency with you? Your relationship with yourself, powerful point here. Your relationship with yourself sets up your relationship with your spouse, the rest of your family. Your relationship with yourself is really what drives your relationship with your teammates and coworkers. Your relationship with yourself sets up your relationship with money, because you will never have a higher income than your self-identity. Your relationship with yourself drives your performance in your career. Your relationship with yourself sets up your entire relationship with your world. The doorway to success then swings inward, not outward. And as you build that relationship with your final self, as you build a relationship with your values, as you build the relationship with your gifts and your talents, as you meditate and contemplate and reflect on your true wisdom, what starts to happen is you peel away your ego, which is simply the voice of your fear. And you get to know that inner warrior and that primal genius that lurks within every human heart. You have it. But is your ego screaming more loudly than your inner hero? And if that's the case, then you're not intimate with who you truly are. Life's greatest betrayal is not knowing who you truly are. So where do you get to know your best self? In the twilight of quiet. It is in the tranquility of the early morning hours, or maybe those quiet hours before you go to sleep, where you can pull out a journal and write about the person you've always wanted to be. It might be where you meditate on the person you want to become. You might want to pray in your quiet hours alone about what you want your life to stand for. I spend a lot of time early in the morning with my eyes closed, visualizing the life I want to create. All I know is my best thinking, my greatest self-excavation, my highest personal growth doesn't happen when I'm in a room full of people. It happens when I have carved out the time to be alone. That's when I can hear the silent whispers of my greatest self. Well, you can't be alone and you won't make time to be tranquil if you're scared of yourself. You see, I believe a lot of people, the reason why they're on their phones all day long or watching TV all day long or busy being busy or addicted to alcohol or medication or gossiping, those are simply flights and escapes from intimacy with who they truly are. You see, what I'm really saying is most people have all this pain and self-hatred deep within them. So because they've never processed through that pain, they need to structure their life to be busy where they're always doing things because they're scared of being alone. Because when you're alone, you not only start thinking, you start feeling. I'm going to repeat that again because it's so fundamentally important. When you are alone, all your deepest feelings that you've been resisting come up.